Nocturnal recaps here. Today I'm going to tell you about one of the most underrated movies ever, a 2017 thriller called You Were Never Really Here. A Gulf War veteran suffering from severe PTSD frees girls from human traffickers.
Close your eyes.
After finishing the job, the main character named Joe burns the missing girl's photo and quickly cleans up all traces of his stay in the hotel room. He is a hired gun who makes his money by freeing girls from the hands of human traffickers. Leaving the hotel building, he gets into a cab, constantly looking around to see if anyone is following him. Joe arrives at the airport to inform his handler that the case is done, then heads home. Noticing several teenagers staring at him, he enters the house where he lives with his elderly mother. After putting his mother to bed, he goes to lick his wounds. Joe suffers from a severe form of PTSD caused by war and a traumatic childhood. After cleaning up after his mother in the bathroom, he heads to the mediator. Receiving his payment, Joe informs the middleman that he is breaking off the relationship with him because his son has seen him and knows where he lives. Back home, Joe helps his mother polish the cutlery and throw out the spoiled food. Once in his room, he locks himself in the closet and has flashbacks of how he hid there when his parents were fighting. Standing on a train platform, he looks down at the tracks but doesn't dare jump. Joe goes to see his handler named John, whose office is filled with flowers from the parents whose daughter Joe saved. Joe tells him to sever all relations with the middleman, whose son knows where he lives. John agrees and offers him a new job. Senator Albert Votto asks to return his runaway daughter for 50 grand. Senator doesn't want to involve the police in the case since he works with Governor Williams, and this case could tarnish his reputation. Joe goes to the senator himself for more details, and Votto informs him that his daughter's name is Nina, and shortly after she ran away, he receives an anonymous letter with an address where trafficked girls are being held. Joe says that if she's there, he'll be sure to get her out, then gives Albert a sheet with the address he needs to come to when it's all over.
I want you to hurt them.
For the rest of the day, Joe prepares for the upcoming raid. After checking the house, he heads to the store to buy something that makes it really hurt. As he leaves the store, several passers-by ask Joe to take their picture, which causes him to relive a traumatic memory. Not in the best psychological state, Joe goes to the dealer to buy some substances and beats him up for being late. To calm down a bit, Joe goes to a sauna where he is again haunted by memories from the war as he gives a little girl a chocolate bar, but a passing guy shoots her to take the candy away. Back on the road, Joe heads to that very house and begins to observe. While waiting, memories came flooding back to Joe of that day when he found a container full of girls being shipped in for sale. Joe finally notices some guy leaving the building. Pretending to ask for directions, he pulls him into a car. Joe asks about the security code and the number of guards in the building. He tearfully begs to be spared and tells him everything, after which Joe chokes him out. We watch through security cameras as Joe enters the building and immediately attacks a security guard. Making his way upstairs where Nina is being held, he kicks the crap out of both the guards and the customers. He finally finds a girl who looks like Nina and carries her away from the place.
Close your eyes.
Joe puts Nina in his car and takes her to a hotel where a meeting with her father is scheduled. The girl acts aloof, clearly still in shock from being in that place. Stopped in the underground parking lot, Nina hugs Joe, but he tells her not to do it. After sneaking past the bored receptionist, they head to the room where Joe dries the hair of a rain-soaked girl. While waiting for her father, they learn from the television that Senator Albert Votto has died after jumping from the 22nd floor. Joe tries to calm the girl down, but at that moment a receptionist knocks on the door and two corrupt cops shoot him. As one of them holds Joe at gunpoint, the other takes Nina away. Joe manages to divert the cops' attention, and they get into a fight, from which Joe emerges victorious. After climbing out of the building through a window, Joe pulls out his fight-damaged tooth and goes to a payphone. He tries to call John, but he doesn't answer. Joe decides to go to John's house in person, and upon entering, he finds nothing there but a cat and traces of blood on the floor. Joe immediately drives to his office, and upon entering, he sees John's body, on whose desk is a bloody card with the mediator's contacts on it. Joe's psychological state is deteriorating rapidly, and he rushes home, fearing that they might have found out his address. He climbs through the roof to his mother's room, but it's too late. He takes off her broken glasses and sneaks downstairs, as he used to sneak to avoid seeing his father. Joe manages to get the upper hand and shoots 2 men, after which he interrogates the wounded one about who shot his mother and where Nina is now. Killer says that Senator Votto wanted to end it all and that Nina is now at Governor Williams' house, as she is his favorite. Upon reaching his mother's room, Joe puts on his suit and wraps her body in a bag. He goes to the lake, where he ties rocks to his mother's body and puts some in his pockets. He wades into the water with her and releases his mother. Apparently, Joe is going to stay in that lake forever, but he gets a vision of Nina underwater, so he surfaces. All the pieces of the puzzle come together in Joe's mind, and he realizes that Nina often ran away from home because Votto gifted her to Governor Williams to gain his favor. But guilt drove him to jump. Joe watches Williams' office and waits for him to get into his car. He follows the governor through town to his posh mansion, inside which he has a whole photo collection of girls like Nina. Armed with a hammer, Joe heads inside, taking out the guards in the process. But when he enters the governor's room, he finds Williams lying on the floor with his throat slit. In an instant, Joe transforms from a brutal man into the same frightened boy hiding from his father in the closet. Experiencing a psychological breakdown, he goes downstairs, where he sees visions from his past. Entering the dining room, he sees Nina sitting at the table with bloody hands and a razor by her side. When he approaches her, she tells him that everything is okay now. In the final scene, Joe and Nina are sitting in a diner discussing where they should go. When Nina goes to the bathroom, Joe pulls out a gun and shoots in the head, to which people around him pay no attention. When she returns, she wakes Joe up, and we realize that it was just his fantasy. Nina tells him that they should go because today is a beautiful day.